Mobster Boss Radio Live is not intended for anyone under the age of 18. If you are under the age of 18 and still here from this point on, we assume you are here with the consent, approval, and supervision of a parent or guardian. With that said, here's Lester.
Candy here. Foreplay. I just want to fuck. You're listening to Mobster Boss Radio Live. Radio Live.
Back by popular demand.
Let's get ready to rumble!
JD. Sunny.
And Lester.
Let's do it then!
Ang susunod na palabas ay rated PG.
You're listening to Mobster Boss Radio Live with Lester.
You know, before I get started, I want to say hello to some people up around Lake Superior in the state of Wisconsin. Particularly, I want to say hello to my friend Dickie. Now, they live in what I now know as God's country. I had no clue it even existed. It is, without a doubt, the whitest area in the United States. So the subject that I'm going to talk about may be a little bit foreign to them. But we're going to get on with it. We'll see. I'm going to talk about something that I witnessed. And I know a lot of people are going to go, man, this is about as racist as it gets. But it's not. It's really not. It's something that I actually experienced at the grocery store. You know, there I was. I decided I'd rather take an ass whooping than go to the store. Although I have put myself in a situation at the store to maybe have to succumb to an ass whooping. I'm not sure because, you know, have you ever noticed when you go to the grocery store, there's always, you know, they have all of these checkout counters, which are never fully manned, but there's always one counter. There's always one checkout line that has a sign up there that says 20 items or less, right? 20 items or less, or it may say 12 items or less. Whatever the number is, it's there and it's in print. And there's always some inconsiderate motherfucker that either can't read or can't count, and I try to help them out. Well, that always is met with a bunch of resentment and snide remarks and all of this sort of stuff, telling me to mind my own business. But you know what? I consider it my business when I'm in line. I have made sure that I'm in the proper line. You know, if it says 20 items or less, I can guarantee you in my basket, if I'm rolling a basket or whatever, but in my possession that I'm wanting to pay for, there will be less items than what that number calls for. If I'm in a store and they say 12 items or less, I guarantee you I have less than 12 items. I'm just not rude like that. And plus I can read and count. You know, I was in the store the other day and I've got my 10 or 15 items and I head to the deal and it says 20 items or less. This is kind of like an express checkout. So there I am and I look ahead of me and here is this huge, fat, black, negress woman. Now, I know that some of you are going to get upset about the fact that I said negress, but you look it up. But anyway, there she is. And I swear to God, if she's got 2 items in her basket, she's got 100 items in her basket. It is overflowing. It is stacked up. And by the looks of her size, I'm assuming she knows how to stack something because she's goddamn sure stacked a plate full of food. Whew. I bet you she weighed 375 pounds. I'm going to tell you what, in certain communities, in certain cultures, I guess having a big ass is supposed to be hot, sexy, attractive, whatever. Well, I'm going to tell you what, this woman had the market cornered on that. She was all ass. Oh my God. How do you do that? And why? Why is it that these fat black women decide to wear those spandex type pants where you can see every dimple in her ass and thighs? I'm telling you that what she had on one hip and one thigh was my complete body weight. Oh. And it looked like, every time she made a move, it looked like Jell-O just wiggling. And on top of that, she was wearing these tight, stretchy-looking spandex, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, spandex pants. My God, why would you do that? Why would you expose the rest of the world to that atrocity? Oh my God, man. But anyway, let me get back to what happened. So she's in front of me and she's got this basket stacked, probably, hell, I don't know. Anyway, it was stacked full, layers and layers and layers of food and stuff. And I said, excuse me. She knew right off the bat what I was going to do, because she turned around with that little look on her face, rolled her eyes, and put her arm on her side. The only thing was missing at this point was the chicken neck thing. You know how they do. You know what I'm talking about. But I think it was because there was so much fat under there, you probably couldn't tell if it was happening or not. But anyway, she turns around with this look like, you're bothering me. And I said, listen, if you're having a problem counting or reading, I can help you out. She said, and just what are you talking about? I said, well, the sign here says 20 items or less. And I haven't counted your cart, but I know there's 20 items just in this little corner over here of your cart. And I said, the line for carts like this is over there. She looked over there and there was a kind of a line there, and she goes, but I'm in a hurry. And I said, well, I am too. And she looked down and I had 10 or 15 items. And she said, I have to get home and feed my babies. Now, I'm assuming that she is in reference to kids and not those huge 50 pounds of fat tits that she's got. But anyway, I decided, well, you know what? I'm not going to get into any more of this. Let her go. And so there she is. Boy, they are racking it up. And that woman, the checkout woman, they've got two guys over there sacking groceries as fast as they can, stacking that. And, given the fact that it was all just thrown into the cart, it was stacked up, looked like something at the dump. You know how they just stack it up? Well, when they're putting that stuff in sacks, there's not enough room. They had to bring another cart over to start filling that up. She's got so much groceries, she's going to have two people taking her groceries out. But so she whoops out this credit card, or so I thought, and it was white. And when she turned it around, I saw the deal that said Lone Star card. Lone Star card. I remember they did a special on the news about a Lone Star card. That is food stamps. And I saw some of the things that was going through there on food stamps. My God, she had 4 gallons of prepared tea. Sweet tea, of course. But she had 4 gallons. Wait a minute. You know what? I don't need the Lone Star card to feed me, and I prepare my own tea. I buy a box of the the tea bags. I go home, I put the water on to boil or brew or whatever, and in 5 minutes I have tea. This bitch is so lazy and does not care because, you see, she doesn't have to work for this money. She's already shit out all of those yard apes that she's raising, and that, in her mind, seems to be her contribution to society. And so she's entitled to all this fucking money. But I just don't understand all the things that she bought there. And I didn't keep track of every one of them, but there was like 5 and 6 bags of Cheetos. There was 4 gallons of iced tea. 4 gallons of iced tea, and a gallon of iced tea, I think, cost like $2.50 to buy at the store, or you can make it for about I don't know, I'm guessing. You can make it for pennies if you make it at home using a tea bag and water. I don't get it. I see why she's so goddamn fat. Yes, sir. Well, anyway, she's steady looking at me the whole time while she's checking out. And she knows now I'm watching her groceries and being sacked. And I'm telling you, every type of junk food that there was in that store somehow fit in that cart. You see, she didn't have to worry about if she was going to have enough money for the next trip to the store. Like most people that work for a living, she didn't have to worry about that. She bought Cheetos and gummy bears and ice cream. There was Bluebell. That's what it was, Bluebell. There was like 4 of those half-gallon things of Bluebell. 4 of them. Huh. Now, and here she is weighing, if she weighs anything, she weighs 375 pounds, at least. Now, I don't understand. I guess there are no restrictions on what you can buy with that. But there are some restrictions. You can't buy paper goods, like paper towels, toilet paper, stuff like that. And it has to be bought on food. But I noticed something that she used that card to swipe all that junk food, and then she whooped out another deal that apparently the woman said it was WIC. So I looked that up before I did the show. Women and infant children. And what that does, it provides women who have children like that and they can't afford the different things. It allows them to buy bread, milk, eggs, things of that nature. I think cheese. I'm not sure. But so now she's, not only is she on the welfare card, she's on this WIC thing. And the milk that she bought, she had like 3 gallons of milk. Was it white milk? No, sir, it was chocolate milk. It was chocolate milk. She's trying to make sure that those babies that she has are as big, fat, and gross looking as she was, I think. There was bags and bags of cookies. What nutritional value does she get out of these things? I don't understand. And why would she be this has got to be, food has to be the babysitter. And it's paid for by your tax dollars for this person. And I'm the first one. If somebody needs help, I'm going to help them out. But my God, she buys things that none of us, none of us buy. Obviously, they have it for sale, so people are buying it. But this African beauty, this African queen, who was so annoyed by me just asking her to get over in the line that she belonged in. But you got to remember that her time is much more important than mine, and I'm a working, contributing member to society. She just shits out little yard apes, and that's how she makes money.
I wanna be on welfare so freaking bad. Buy a
brand new porch swing for my pack. And I won't do anything literally. Think of how fantastic that would be. 'Cause every time I stretch my thighs, you'll be asking someone if they want fries. A different takeout every night. Oh, I swear, Domino's better prepare for when I am on welfare.
Yeah, I wanna live a life with a dream. I can hear it calling. First of the month, I'll be grocery balling. Chickity check in the mail, never getting stale. I never thought I'd have to do nothing to get by. My 10 kids won't even bother me. I'll send them to daycare so I can sit at home in my underwear with all you fools in the workforce paying for me. And I ain't doing shit, I'm just living for free. New LCD TV up in the house, sitting on my black leather and a Santa couch. I kick back with a 6-pack in my backyard. Free food thanks to my access card.
And don't think that my style is wrong, 'cause I have more kids than Octo Mom. I'd like to reproduce and build Uncle Sam with the bear. Better get the crib prepared for when I am on welfare. Whoa, whoa, when I am on welfare. Whoa, whoa,
I wanna sit down on my front porch and shout at the cars driving by with my armpits out. I want blanket and XP cracking shrooms. I want 52 cats in my living room. I want food stamps, give them to me. I want a new pair of sweatpants, fuzzball free. And I'll be sitting in my hot tub living good while selling cocaine to the neighborhood. Yes, I am awesome, but you don't know me. Income tax is all that you owe me. Pick me, Uncle Sam, I'm the one. Please approve my application, 'cause
I wanna be on welfare so freaking bad. Purchase prostitutes from Craigslist ads.
please.
I wanna be on the cover of Sponge magazine or some grimy Jerry Springer scene. And if they catch me in my life, they'll take back my Porsche from Enterprise. Yeah, yeah. I'll fake my death and change my name to collect Medicare. The system just ain't fair unless I am on welfare. Whoa, whoa, unless I am on welfare. Whoa, whoa, unless I am on welfare. I wanna be on welfare so freaking bad. I wanna get those welfare benefits and spend every bit on cigarettes. I'm a slam hug, baby, I'm a slam hoochie mama.
Crack with your dad all night
I
long.
wanna get those welfare benefits and spend every bit on cigarettes. I'm a slam hug, baby, I'm a slam hoochie mama.
Crack with your dad all night
I
long.
wanna get those welfare benefits and spend every bit on cigarettes. I'm a slam hug, baby, I'm a slam
The reason that I played the last, I don't know, 30 or 40 seconds of that last little song, it was about cigarettes and welfare and all that sort of stuff, is because there's actually some proposed legislation. There's actually some legislators out there that are smart enough to figure out that when their welfare money, not the food stamps, but when their welfare money goes on some kind of like a MasterCard type thing, right now there's no limits as to where they can use that. But there's some legislation in several states where they're trying to propose that these cards would have some kind of a restriction on them where you can't buy cigarettes or alcohol or go to strip clubs or whatever. And I think that's a good thing. Of course, there's a huge uproar about that, you know, these people are saying that the government is too intrusive in their life. Look, pal, if you're on welfare, you're my employee in my book. You may not be my direct employee, but I help sign your check. I help provide for your check. You know, like that woman doing all of this sort of stuff, it was kind of offensive to me of how she abused that free money. Because she takes that idea of it being free money, and I just, I don't buy stuff like that. And just because I don't buy it or don't like it, that's not what I'm trying to impose on this woman. I just think that there ought to be a little bit of responsibility. Make your own iced tea. Maybe you can cut back on a gallon of ice cream a month. I don't know. But it just, if you are going to receive the benefits of welfare, then I think you should treat it like a job. You know, there's legislation down in Texas right now that's being proposed that would limit, and it would cause people to have to answer for the money that they spend. And on top of that, that they would have to submit to drug tests. Now, I realize that organizations like the ACLU, don't get me started on them. But anyway, organizations like the ACLU is jumping in and saying that this is like submitting people to drug tests before they can get on welfare is kind of like subjecting yourself to an illegal or unauthorized search and seizure. I don't see it that way. If you're going to apply for a job at IBM and they ask for a drug test, nobody's bitching about that, because if you flunk the drug test, you're not getting the job. Well, in my book, if you're applying for assistance, temporary, welfare was intended to be temporary. And if you're applying for this temporary assistance, I think there's certain qualifications that you should meet that go beyond you shutting out kids. I think that you should not do drugs. So what better way to find out if you're doing drugs than to take a drug test? And I think it ought to go further than what they're proposing. If you go in to apply for welfare and they ask you to submit to a drug test, most of these people are smart enough to figure that they're going to be drug tested right there that day. So they're going to make sure their system's clean. So you take your drug test, and if you're clean and if they determine that you need to get money, as soon as you receive your first check, somebody shows up within a week or so and submits you to a random drug test. Well, where's all the money going to come from that? From all the money that you cut off of those motherfuckers that get caught using drugs. That's where the money comes from. There's people that saying, well, Florida's got systems like that already in place about drug testing. It's costing them more than they're saving. I don't believe that. As your employer, if you're on welfare, as your employer, I'm already paying for your food, your housing assistance, for every little yard ape you shit out. And while you're at the store buying all the gallons of tea and half gallons of ice cream, you've got Cletus sitting at home. He's as much a part of the system as anybody else. He's sitting at home, and then when he gets caught for doing something illegal, slinging drugs or whatever, then he goes to the court, throws himself on the mercy of the court, and then he's remanded to a fucking rehab center that I'm fucking paying for. Your whole goddamn family is under my employ, as far as I'm concerned. Asking you to take a drug test should be something that you should be willing to do. As far as I'm concerned, this idea of taking your money, if you receive money per month and it goes onto a card similar to a MasterCard, there should be restrictions on that. You shouldn't be able to buy cigarettes. You shouldn't be able to buy alcohol. Go to the wherever. Right now, apparently you can just go spend it just like a MasterCard or a Visa. I think that's wrong. And I think that I'm not trying to, the lady at the ACLU, when she was talking about the deal down in Texas, she talked about how she was so disappointed in the legislators because the first pass through their Senate down here in the Texas Senate The first passive was passed unanimously, and she was so disappointed, and she thought that this targeted poor people. And there's already a study out that indicates that drug usage does not vary with regard to the class of people, your financial status. You're just as apt to use drugs if you're poor as you are if you're a millionaire or from a millionaire's family. What in the fuck are you people thinking? You know, and on top of that, the welfare thing has become so, well, it's profitable, I think. You know, in the United States, and I've got some facts pulled up, so I'm not pulling this all off the top of my head. But in the United States right now, the number of Americans on welfare is 4,300,000, right? The total amount of Americans on food stamps is 43,700,000. All right. The percent of the U.S. population is 4.1% that's on welfare. And the total government spending is $131.9 billion. All right. So then we look at this is the part that some of you are not going to like. This is when we start looking at the racial makeup, the racial and ethnic makeup of people that receive welfare. The percent of recipients that are white is 38.8%. I know some of you say, see, the white people are making up almost 40%. Not so quick, bucko. The percent of recipients who are black is 39.8%. Now, the black folks are going to say, see, we're not hardly any more than the white folks are. Well, as the black community is only what? 15% of the population, yet you make up almost 40% of the goddamn welfare recipients? Don't talk to me about that shit. The percentage of recipients that are Hispanic is 15%, and that goes into the same aspect. There's more of those people per capita of that particular group of people that are on welfare than there are of certain other groups, right? Same way with the blacks. The percent of recipients who are Asian is 2.4%, and the percent of recipients who are other, whatever that means, Samoan, whatever, is 3%. But here's some interesting stuff that I did not know. Did you know that if you're on welfare, receiving the whole litany of benefits that you can get, food stamps and money to spend on things and all of the stuff that you get, you can go and get a part-time job. I know that's a stretch for a bunch of you. You can go get a part-time job and make $1,000 and still receive all your welfare money. Now get this. The total number of U.S. states where welfare pays more than an $8 an hour job is 40. What's minimum wage? $7.25, something like that. 40 fucking states where you can make more on welfare than you can if you're only qualified to take a minimum wage job. But get this. The number of states where welfare pays more than a $12 an hour job. There's 7 of them. And get this, 9 of the states in the United States pay more than the average salary of a U.S. teacher. You can draw more on welfare than you can being a teacher in 9 states in the United States. And I just think that it's crazy. And one last little bit of statistics about welfare. This is the top 10 hourly wage equivalent welfare states in the United States. In other words, this is what welfare, if you receive food stamps and rent assistance and all the stuff that welfare provides. In Hawaii, if you have a job that makes less than $17.50 an hour, you might as well be on welfare because you'll make more. In Alaska, That's Sarah Palin's state. How did that happen in there? I don't know. Anyway, Alaska, $15.48 is the equivalent of welfare payments. $15 an hour job, you can make $15.48 an hour if you go and apply for welfare and get all the benefits. In Massachusetts, it's $14.66. Connecticut's $14.23. Washington, D.C., $13.99, almost $14 an hour. New York, it's $13.13. And a real, that this is a funny thing here. New York has just proposed legislation that would make minimum wage raise up to just over $8 an hour in their state. Yet you can get on welfare and draw $13.13 an hour. How does all of this work? Now, I realize that they're taking the average. There's going to be people that make more than this, and there's going to be people that, if this is the average, there has to be some that make more, and there has to be some to make less in order to come up with this average, right? But why in the world would you reward people for shitting out kids? Why? I would think that once they got to 3 kids and they're still on this welfare shit, you should sterilize them. That's what I think. I know there's going to be a lot of people that tell me that, oh, that's terrible, you shouldn't do that. I got a message in my Skype just a minute ago telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that I ought to leave the subject of like that woman at the grocery store alone, that it's none of my business. It is my business. I'm her fucking employer as far as I'm concerned. And I think these people that decide that they want to live this way and they want to live as my employee or your employee, if you're a contributing member to society and you pay for all this shit that they have, I think that we ought to, as a collective group, be able to set aside rules that they need to abide by. You know what? If you're at your job and somebody says, hey, Tony, why don't you go and gather everybody and we're going to come to this meeting? That's what you do, because that's part of the duties of your job. What are the duties of a welfare recipient? To shit kids out? I think so. And then when you've got companies like JD and Sonny pointed out that are taking drinks that are not covered by food stamps, and they're trying to change the name, this Monster nutritional drink that a lot of you people drink. I think every one of you ought to stop buying that shit. They're wanting to change the description of their drink and take it away from nutritional supplement or however that's, so that they just call it a drink, so that it's covered under food stamps, so that somebody can buy a $5 can of Monster drink. I think that's just insane. The only people that's going to buy that are going to be the people that get free money. There's a reason that these people were left out of the welfare payments, and I think they ought to put more and more things on there. And as a matter of fact, I don't know exactly how that card thing that they swipe to pay for this stuff with their food stamps works, but I would think that there would be some kind of an accounting for what they buy, wouldn't you? You've got these sponges that go out and have no intention of getting a job. That woman that was in front of me at the store, I just know she's not working. I don't know her personally, but I would be willing to bet on everything that's sacred that she doesn't have a job. She considers her contribution to society is shitting out kids and imposing the bad habits that she's got on those kids, and she's going to teach those kids how to be welfare recipients so that when they get older, they can just create this whole cycle all over again. When you've got cockroaches in your house, you don't go around and just step on a cockroach here and a cockroach there. You know what you do? You burn out the nest. And that's what you need to do, is burn out the nest. I don't mean give her physical harm, but she doesn't need to have any more kids. She bought more groceries in that one deal than I would buy in 2 or 3 months. I guarantee it. You know, and I'm just a single guy, but that's not the issue. The issue is I'm paying for her shit. So are you. And when you've got the ACLU going to bat for these people, saying that people like me are picking on them because they're, see, I lost my whole train of thought. Somebody just sent me another message telling me to shut the fuck up. I'm not going to. You know, and it's probably a goddamn welfare recipient that just sent that. I know what I'm talking about. I know that if I go to work and my boss asks me to do something within the realm of the rules that I work by, I need to do that in order to keep my job. If they ask me to submit to a drug test, I've got to do that. I don't understand why it's a big problem for these goddamn sponges to take a drug test. And if they're clean, more power to them. You know, I found out another thing. If for some reason they find out you're on drugs, they will not kill your welfare payments right now. On this new proposed legislation, I think they've been too lenient. They're saying that if you get caught on the 3rd time, you get banned from receiving welfare for life. I don't get it. I think that they ought to expand this drug test, and if you test positive for cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol, done. And if they find some kind of opiate in your system, like Vicodin or Valium, which is some kind of tranquilizer, or speed, or anything that comes back as a prescription drug, I think you better be ready to show a prescription for those drugs. I just think it's only natural. If I was at the doctor and the doctor had me taking some kind of medication that showed up on a drug test for my work, they're going to ask me if I have a prescription for whatever. Let's say I hurt my back and they had me on some kind of narcotic pain pill for a few days. And if that showed up, I should be able to come in with the bottle, the prescription with my name on it and in the right time frame on the date and things. I don't get what the big problem is here and why everybody's so offended. I understand why they're jumping up and screaming and acting like fucking unruly people about this, is because they don't want any restrictions. But they never had any restrictions. You just go sign up for your shit and you don't have to do anything. Sit at home and grow as big as that fucking cow that was in the goddamn grocery store in front of me. It's a pleasant life, I guess. You don't have to do anything. The women, they just shit out kids, and it means, you know, and that's another thing. Get this. Say she's got 3 kids and she shits out another one. All right, that other one, and let's say she's breastfeeding that kid. That kid is already adding to her food stamps at the rate of, like, I don't know, $200 or $300 a month. I don't know what the rate is, but she gets all the money for that kid. All the money for that kid is added into her grand total. Well, no wonder these motherfuckers have 10, 12 kids running around. That's their gravy train. And you say, well, but that doesn't make up for the kind of lifestyle that they probably would like to have. Yeah, well, it does when Cletus is out slinging dope. You know, I just don't think there are any ramifications for these people and nothing to answer for. And a lot of times now people are getting to the point that they want some answers about this stuff, and this offends them. This makes them think that, wow, this is terrible. They don't have the right to ask for this. I think we have every right because we're their fucking employee. I'll be right back.
Her fiancé, Gary Brown Sr., the man who fathered 10 of her 15 children, was arrested, and Adam says she was left with nothing.
I don't have any clothes. People been donating food just around here, just helping me out with food, and I don't have anything.
We called the Department of Children and Families to see what they've been doing to help. DCF says Hillsborough Kids Incorporated has been helping by paying Adam's rent, even providing her furniture. Adam says it isn't enough.
Somebody needs to pay for all my children and mine and Gary, all our suffering, all our death. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay. And they need to pay. And they need to pay.
Okay, EBT is basically about electronic benefit transfer, and it's basically about welfare and having children and just for money, just for the state. So the state of California can pay for WIC, GR, food stamps, daycare. I mean, the state of California. If you want EBT, the state of California is the best place to get your money. They'll pay you the most, and yeah, it's like $221 for GR and about $179 for food. That's for each person. So, yeah, you get free daycare, you get free food. You can go to fast food restaurants now. Domino's Pizza is accepting EBT. McDonald's, I haven't saw a sign for McDonald's. Subway, you can take your EBT card. Like, you get $221 in cash. You get free daycare. So if you have 4 kids or 6 kids, you get money for free daycare. So all of them can go to daycare. And most people, they have their friend as the daycare person, and they split the money. And they split the money for that. And then you have the cash that they give you, and then the lights and gas and the free home. I mean, who would want to work in America? This is what the taxpayers are paying for.
So there you have it. Here's the attitude of these son of a bitches. They think that they're entitled to this shit, right? They think that they are entitled, and that you, as working people, you owe these motherfuckers something. You got that? I did. That's exactly what I got from that last little bitch's comment. She thinks that her attitude is, why would you work when you can get all of this for free? She doesn't care. And if she's got a bunch of kids, she's going to raise them to do the same thing. You know what? Just hearing all these last little bits that I played just made me sick to my stomach. And I think I'm going to end my show now. You know, and I know I'm going to get a lot of messages. I do not care. Fuck you. Remember this. Fuck you. I do not care, right? I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think that I made some kind of racist comment. I did not. I pointed out the obvious. If you've got a pimple on your nose, I'm going to point it out. And these people are much more than a pimple on the nose. They're a pimple on the ass of society. They're what's bringing society down. So fuck them, and fuck you if you don't like it. With that said, you know I love all of you for listening to me, and I don't wish anybody any ill will. Be sure and tune in to Guy Shea. Check out Big Tiny. Check out JD and Sonny. They'll be sometime either Friday or tomorrow, either tomorrow or Monday or whenever the hell they're going to broadcast. They'll be on. And I just hope that each and every one of you get what you're looking for in life, except for you welfare bums, you sponges, you mooches on society. I'm not going to get started again. Anyway, y'all have a good day. This is Lester Bartholomew Jones wishing you and yours the very best. Bye-bye.